Hi everyone, welcome back to Dota Kitty. 2 weeks ago, Octo450, one of the contributors behind the awesome A320 and MD11, sent in a merge request for an improved generic autopilot. You know, that F11 autopilot that shows up if the plane you're flying doesn't have one of its own. Octo wanted to fix the overshooting and general overcontrolling that the generic autopilot often does. I'm not going to dwell on that too long. He has made a video that showcases this in more detail than I ever could. The link is up there on the top right. Let's make a test flight with the Ogo and compare the behavior of the original and new autopilots. Here we are at 2,500 feet, flying straight and level. Now, one bit of trivia you might not know about the current generic autopilot is that all pitch control is done via trim. I can slowly pull back on the stick, which the autopilot will counter by trimming down. I can also pitch down really hard and freak out the autopilot. This is actually unrealistic, and you will see the correct way when you show off the new autopilot. Back to the main part. Let's gas the plane to turn right by 30 degrees. The plane rudely snaps to its bank angle, the stick rubber banding like crazy for a few seconds, and then all seems to be well. The plane slowly turns towards our target heading, starts to bank back as it approaches it, and oh no, it didn't turn back fast enough and overshot our target. It's going to try to turn back now to get on our target heading. Now, there's no reason this plane couldn't level off in time. I'm going to take manual control here and turn back to 90 degrees at a good speed. Oh, it looks like I overshot a little bit too, but at least it's not 5 entire degrees. The same story applies when climbing and ascending. The plane pitches up and bops up and down, stabilizing after a few seconds. I'm going to ask it to descend back, and the same thing happens. You notice that the throttle setting is also swinging wildly. Fun! Oh, by the way, do you know that you can press the number keys to change the set heading, altitude, and speed when the generic autopilot is active? Yeah, that's really useful. I restarted the flight, this time with the new generic autopilot. You notice that the angle of attack option is replaced by the flight path angle option. This is because flying by angle of attack is only useful on a couple of really hard to fly cold war planes, and flying by flight path angle is more useful. The autopilot is also in control of the elevators now, so no more messing around with the controls with it active. However, it is also in control of the trim. Let me show you by putting the plane into a low speed climb. The trim has moved nose up accordingly. The autopilot uses the elevators for second to second jitters and a trim to keep the elevator as centered as possible. You see this even more clearly later in the video. Octo says this is closer to how real autopilots function. I'm going to change from climbing to descending here, and a pitch change is performed smoothly, with no rubber banding to be seen. Let's turn right by 30 degrees. The turn is started much more elegantly, and in just a little while you will notice that the plane is starting to roll back. Indeed, the plane will stop its turn at 120 degrees sharp, just as we intended. Turning back to due east now, just as elegantly as last time, and while we roll out of the turn, we're also leveling out to 2,500 feet. You notice that the throttle increases together with the pitch, smoothly and without oscillation. So I think it's time for this autopilot to face the final boss of hard-to-control aircraft, the Pterosaur, which shares the same flight dynamics as our Resonant Dragon that it flew a year ago. Link at the top right, wink wink. This plane has to be commanded quite far nose up for an 8-degree pitch climb, and you can see here that the trim is used to pull the nose up and the elevator is used to damp the pitch changes from the wing flapping. I'm using wings level mode here. Let's see what happens when we pick heading mode instead. At first it seems to go nicely, and whoa! Yeah, it quickly got worse. Our Pterosaur is turning about 100 degrees to either side of the target. Luckily though, it doesn't get any worse than that. This isn't unique to the new autopilot. The old autopilot couldn't handle heading mode either. It didn't drift far this time, but trust me, I've seen worse. TLDR, when you're flying the Pterosaur or Scales the Dragon, do not use the autopilot's heading mode, period. As of this video, the pull request is not yet merged, which means that you can't test the new generic autopilot simply by downloading a nightly. You need to patch FG data yourself. Not very difficult though, and the patch will likely land in a nightly sooner or later. Wow, that was longer than I thought it would be. Exams are coming up next week, so I'll probably be live streaming next. Throw your suggestions for what I should do into the comments. Thanks for watching Dota Kitty, and I'll see you again next time. Safe flights!